This is where we begin to step into the connection between soulmates and past lives. Because I have found that when people feel very compelled by another person, they will often say, oh, this is definitely someone I've had a past life with. And they will feel that it was definitely this person, just in a different form, or often not even in a different form. You find that people will say, oh, this person's my soulmate. I know that we were lovers in multiple past lives, and that's the way it is. And that may be true, but of course, you have to step into understanding and accepting the idea of past lives, and that's a larger conversation that we're going to have in just a minute. But in terms of understanding one's connection to another person, the nature of it, the compelling nature of it, I have found that it is helpful to step into looking at our connection with other people as a function of patterns of relating. And if you break down a relationship with someone into the patterns of relating that you share, you can see that the way that you relate to one person may be similar to the same way that you relate to another person. And then you begin to see, well, this is the way that I relate in general. And this is a place that is compelling to me in terms of developing relationships, right? So you see that you have this pattern this general pattern that's expressing throughout all of your relationships. So like, for instance, you may be someone, for instance, who gives too much. And so in this close relationship that you have with this person, you find that, you know, they may be a little bit closed, they may not be totally forthcoming, but you really care about them and you want to be with them. So you spend a lot of time giving to them, you know, giving them time, giving them energy, giving them money to try to get them to come forward and be with you. And then you find, you know, of course, that becomes problematic at a certain moment. And then you look around and you see in your other relationships, like, for instance, if you had a boss who was, you know, withholding of approval, that you probably worked too long, you worked too hard, didn't take care of your work-life balance in an effort to please them, right? So you see you have this pattern of relating. And that pattern of relating can be called, and is called in Buddhism, a karmic pattern. It's a way of cycling energy in a repetitive way, in a habitual way that creates a pattern of relating. And here the pattern is giving too much in response to the withholding of another person, right? So that may be the compelling thing for you to do. You may feel like you need to give a lot because that means you're a good person. So you're looking around for people to relate to who are withholding so that you can engage in this pattern of giving too much that is, you know, feels good to you because it's going to mean that you're a good person, right? This is a karmic pattern. And that kind of relating, relating based on karmic patterns, again, is something that can be compelling to anyone who is withholding, right? It could be a boss, it could be a lover, it could be a parent, right? And if you think about these patterns of relating being the compelling quality that draws us to another person, then we're not necessarily focused on that one person or being a one person who can be someone who brings out understanding for us as we relate to them, right? It becomes a pattern that we begin to see across our relationships, and we begin to see that we can work with this pattern and that we can work with this pattern in multiple relationships. And for people who try to help us understand the downfalls and the pitfalls of the way that we're giving and don't allow us to give too much or provide us with approval that we then have trouble accepting, and then we have to work to accept it, that will break up the pattern of relating, and that becomes a spiritual friend. That becomes a person who's a soulmate, who loves you and who wants to help you step out of your usual ways of relating that may be harmful to you or harmful to another person. So you begin to see there's this larger range of possibility when you begin to think about soulmates, relationships, and patterns of relating.